Tonight, a local hero turned child abuser. Former world champion snooker player Graham Dott is found guilty of sexual abuse against two primary school-aged children.
Dott is a dangerous individual, and I hope this conviction provides some measure of comfort to those impacted by his crimes.
Dott will be sentenced next month. Also making the headlines. A community gathers to say goodbye to 9-year-old Minnie Merryman. She died after being found injured on an Arbroath industrial estate. Why wild camping is being dubbed dirty camping by those who live and work near an Angus loch after being forced to clean up waste and rubbish. And in sport, dissecting the Dundee derby, we hear from Stephen Pressley on the Dens Park side's 2-0 win at their nearest rivals. I'm Kellyanne Woodland. This is STV News at 6. Good evening. Former snooker world champion Graham Dott is in custody tonight after being found guilty of sexual abuse against two children. The 49-year-old predator was convicted of preying on a girl and a boy before trying to buy their silence with gifts. He had denied the allegations, branding them nonsense. However, a jury found Dott guilty of lewd behaviour across 2 decades. Following the verdict, police described the one-time snooker star as a dangerous individual. From the High Court in Glasgow, here's Brandon Cook.
20 years ago, Graham Dott was at the pinnacle of the snookering world, a local hero who returned from the Crucible Theatre as world champion.
It's a bit surreal, it's fantastic, it's a dream come true really.
But Dott was hiding a dark secret.
Dott is a dangerous individual, and I hope this conviction provides some measure of comfort to those impacted by his crimes. His conviction is as a direct result of their strength in coming forward and providing information which assisted our inquiries.
Shortly after winning his only world title in 2006, he started abusing a young boy. For the next 4 years, he carried out a series of what was described as opportunistic attacks, accusations which Dott denied. Years later, the boy told police, and that prompted officers to visit a woman, now in her 40s, to discuss a statement she had given police back in 2001, alleging Dott had abused her as a child between 1993 and 1996. During a week-long trial, jurors heard about abuse Dott carried out. Today, the 49-year-old sobbed as he was found guilty of sexually abusing the boy and girl across 2 separate decades. When she was around 15, the girl told her friend about the abuse she had suffered. She later told a guidance teacher at her school who involved police, but it would be 25 years until her allegations were brought to court. Were there perhaps opportunities missed here?
I'm not going to comment on whether there was or not. That's obviously decisions that were made prior to my involvement with this. Certainly now we do have a very victim-centred approach, and we work alongside our partner agencies to support anyone that does come forward.
NSPCC Scotland today paid tribute to Dott's victims' courage and strength. Judge Lord Harrower placed him on the sex offenders register. He'll be sentenced next month. Brandon Cook, STV News at the High Court in Glasgow.
Scotland's Chief Fire Officer has called for more efforts to be made to prevent wildfires. Stuart Stevens was speaking after his crew spent much of the summer tackling outbreaks around the country. He says incidents like the ones in the Cairngorms are a significant threat in the coming years, and he wants a national conversation on how best to stop them. Well, our senior reporter Gordon Cree has been following this story. Gordon, what's prompted this?
Well, Kellyanne, you'll remember a few weeks ago there was a major outbreak here at Arthur's Seat, right next to Holyrood Palace and Parliament. It took several days to put that out. Last year there was a bigger one round the other side of the hill. And of course, firefighters have also spent several weeks in the Cairngorms dealing with a wildfire there, something which caused huge disruption to local communities. Some had to be evacuated, and there was a major impact on the economy in an area which would be busy with tourists at the height of the summer season. This all comes against a backdrop of sustained periods of much drier weather, which means when a fire does take hold, it can spread much further and more quickly. And all of that has led to the Chief Fire Officer writing an open letter.
If we think about the built environment in Scotland and the preventative approach and regime we take to that, so fire safety in Scotland buildings is designed to protect fires from spreading, to allow people time to evacuate and to allow time for responders to respond safely to those incidents. And I think we now need to look at how we can apply a similar methodology on a proportionate and risk-based approach to prevention around about wildfires. So how can we put in place physical measures to prevent the fire from spreading, but also how we can make sure that we've got facilities and access to, for example, water supplies in high-risk areas to make sure that we can tackle the fire before it. But as I've said within my letter, the time to tackle these fires is before the smoke is in the air. So we need to really focus on that preventative element and how we can do more to make sure that that doesn't happen in the first place.
And what's the reaction been to this, Gordon?
Well, that depends who you ask. The Tories' Highland MSP Tim Eagle says it highlights how the Scottish Government was dangerously unprepared. Asleep at the wheel, he said. No plan in place. He wants a national wildfire response unit set up. For the Government, Neil Gray, the Justice Secretary, welcomes the letter, has commissioned a review of the Wildfire Strategic Action Plan. He'll update Parliament in the coming weeks. What they and the Fire Chief do agree on, though, is praise for the firefighters who tackled these outbreaks and a hope that scenes like we've had this summer will be minimised in 2027 as a result of this discussion. Kellyanne.
All right, Gordon, thank you. A mother, grandmother and stepfather have avoided jail after being convicted of a campaign of historic child cruelty described as a house of horrors. The children, now adults, suffered years of physical and psychological abuse at the hands of those who were supposed to protect them. The cruelty took place at homes in Aberdeen and Balloch near Loch Lomond. Tonight, the victims are asking questions about why justice took so long. Sharon Donaldson reports.
Megan Murphy, William Murphy and Rebecca Simpson were children when they first tried to tell someone what was happening behind closed doors. Today their mother Shirley Freeman, grandmother Julia Stephen and stepfather David McCall were each handed non-custodial sentences at Aberdeen Sheriff Court.
It doesn't sit right. It feels a bit like a slap in the face. 3 kids were traumatised. We're hardly ever in contact with each other. A massive wedge put between the relationship of 3 siblings and all the drama that's happened since.
There is no sentence I can impose that can repair the awful childhoods these complainers have had because of your crimes. To some people, no doubt, no sentence I could impose will be adequate.
Freeman and Stephen were earlier found guilty of cruel and unnatural treatment at homes in Balloch and Aberdeen between 2003 and 2012. McCall previously admitted the crimes. The court heard disturbing evidence. The children were beaten, starved and psychologically tormented.
It would be all 3 of us. It would be beatings with belts and being pinned by the neck.
Where did we go? We tried to, there was a door shut in our face, or there was a, you're lying, you're attention seeking, you're manipulating, you're this, you're that. Prove it. And we're like, well, we've got the marks. That wasn't me. That didn't happen.
These official photographs show some of William's injuries. The siblings say David McCall also forced Megan to film one assault on camera.
All I really remember was him being literally thrown around the room, being hit, beat. And he made Megan stand at my bedroom door with a camcorder. And I just focused on staring at Megan at the time. I was resisting, but I gave up at one point. And all I remember was Megan mouthing the words.
We've obtained access to some of William's files. He believes the assault was recorded on a memory card he later gave to Aberdeen social workers. A social work record also refers to his mother being unhappy he'd taken a memory card from the house. But Police Scotland say they were later unable to locate a memory card. Aberdeen City Council say they don't comment on individual cases. This is not the first time the family has had to seek justice. In 2022, the youngest sister, Rebecca Simpson, spoke to STV News after her stepfather, James Freeman, was jailed for raping her and for multiple sexual assault charges. The children have waived their right to anonymity. They want the public to know the full scale of the abuse.
Silence protects abusers. It protected ours for the longest time. It doesn't matter who it is. I hope no one ever has to feel the way we felt.
The consequences of what happened still follow them every day.
I still hear me screaming for my mum in my head when I go to bed. Like I hear that noise. And to think that a mother sat through the other room whilst their child screaming, I want my mum, I want my mum. Like, I don't understand.
The Crown Office was passed information but decided not to go ahead with the prosecution until 2023, when a Police Scotland report unveiled the full scale of offending. All of the agencies involved say they did follow child protection procedures. Today, Sheriff Craig Finlater noted that no sentence could fully address the awful childhoods the victims endured. Sharon Donaldson, STV News, Aberdeen.
Hundreds of people in an Angus town have turned out to pay tribute to a little girl who was allegedly murdered by her father. Minnie Merryman died 3 weeks ago after she was found injured on an industrial estate in Arbroath. Her emotional mother thanked the people of the town for their kindness and support. Lynn Rankin was there.
Clutching a teddy, Minnie Merryman's mum Laurie watched as dozens of motorbikes and a piper led the private ambulance carrying her daughter. The family were joined by hundreds of people in Arbroath who turned out to say a final goodbye to a little girl who they didn't know, but all have been moved by.
We just felt we had to show support to the family and pay respects to the wee girl, you know. It's heartbreaking.
She's had a good turnout, so it's not going to help her bring her back, but it might make her feel a wee bit better. Do you know what I mean?
Just to support Minnie's family and let them know that we're all behind them, and, you know, it's sad.
The family released balloons in Minnie's memory, an emotional moment for everyone.
Just a group of mums, as I said earlier, just wanting to support another mum, another family, give her the send-off that she deserves. And
I was having a daughter myself, like, obviously it hit a little bit harder. But yeah, the whole Arbroath just come together and just, I don't know how I've pulled this off. I don't know. But
Minnie was found injured on Elliot Industrial Estate, where the family from West Yorkshire had been camping. What should have been a fun family holiday turned to tragedy when Minnie later died in hospital. Her father, Christopher Rice, has appeared in court charged with her murder. The 35-year-old made no plea and has been fully committed for trial. The family previously paid tribute to their beloved, absolutely incredible, beautiful and brave Minnie Moo. They say they've been overwhelmed by the outpouring of kindness and support from people in Arbroath. Today was their way of saying thank you to a town they'll never forget. As Minnie left Arbroath to begin her final journey home to Yorkshire, it was clear the community here will never forget Minnie. Lynn Rankin, STV News, Arbroath.
Now, it's been a month since Edinburgh introduced Scotland's first visitor levy. While the council estimates the scheme should have already generated around £5 million, there are fears the levy could be making the capital unaffordable for festival performers. Amy Flett reports.
Fringe veterans 360 All-Stars have been coming to Edinburgh every August for the past 10 years. As well as ticket sales, they rely on selling merchandise after every show to boost their income, as accommodation prices have spiralled. But now there's another cost to factor in.
This visitor levy that they've put on is not 5% added on to reasonable accommodation costs. It's 5% on top of what is already insanely expensive, exorbitant costs that every year it's the biggest expense and the hardest thing to try and find. And to punish the artists who are the festival. The festival does not exist without these artists. It just makes no sense.
Capped at 5 nights, the levy means visitors must pay an additional 5% on top of their overnight stay. But how much are tourists actually having to pay?
€43 for
4 people.
4
4
guests
people.
for 2 nights.
2 nights.
I think it's too much.
It's too much, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it will be £25 more.
One of the festival's main venue operators estimates it's helped generate around £1 million through the visitor levy and says it would like to see some of that money reinvested back into it.
There's been an ongoing increase in costs extraordinarily since COVID, and if we don't address that and we don't start driving the costs down, we'll start slowly seeing a decline in the festival.
Businesses are desperately trying to keep their head above water, and if people aren't spending because they've actually had to maybe spend money on a levy, those are all the indicators that need to be managed and assessed.
After 3 years of operation, we'll be looking at what's worked, what hasn't worked, what we need to change, what we need to improve, and that's when we'll make decisions. But I think it's important in the meantime that we stick to the scheme that we consulted on and that we set up.
The council estimates the levy should have already raised around £5 million for the city. But with Glasgow and Aberdeen among those pushing ahead with their own plans next year, the capital faces growing pressure to raise revenue without pricing people out. Amy Flett, STV News, Edinburgh.
Now, wild camping is a popular way to explore our countryside, particularly in the summer months. But for people who live and work near an Angus loch, the issue of dirty camping has left some in tears. Piles of rubbish, ranging from chairs and sleeping bags all the way to human waste, have been dumped at the Loch of Lintrathen. Callum Clark reports.
This is a bin that's burst. As you can see, it's absolutely full of maggots. We've got dirty nappies that haven't been put in bags.
This is what people who live and work near the Loch of Lintrathen in Angus are being left to clear up.
We've got maggots, we've got human excrement in carrier bags.
Piles of waste dumped by campers, some of which would make your stomach turn.
So this is one of the toileting areas, Callum. As you can see in here, there's toilet rolls strewn everywhere. You have to watch where you put your feet.
What's it like to see this?
It breaks your heart, Callum. I was tidying up along here on Monday, and the lady I was with was actually crying. She was so devastated by it. It's awful.
Located around 8 miles west of Kirriemuir, this loch has long been popular with visitors. Now locals have had enough.
People want to come and fish here in peace and quiet. They don't want to be contending with discos or fights or fires at night or anything.
We used to have bylaws on the reservoirs. Nobody was allowed within the perimeter fence. Everything was absolutely spotless. Now the place is just absolutely trashed.
I'm seeing my friends and my family coming here and picking up human excrement, and sorry, that's beyond the pale. It's gone too far now.
And the rise in dirty camping has been noticed by visitors like Nicole, who camps here with her family most summers.
It's not the cleanest anymore. It used to be, but I think the more that the public's known about it, word of mouth, it's making it more public and making it more disgusting with the rubbish, to be quite honest.
The Loch of Lintrathen is a reservoir which supplies drinking water to people in Dundee and surrounding areas. It's owned by Scottish Water, which says there's no risk to public safety. The company's facing calls from the community to take action.
Is what you're doing enough to clamp down on this?
Obviously there's a need for further intervention, just not just at Lintrathen but other sites, and I think collectively we can't manage this problem on our own. We need to work with the police, we need support from local authorities, fire and rescue. All these agencies have a part to play.
Locals say that intervention needs to happen now. Callum Clark, STV News.
Right, time to get all your sport now with Chris.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Thanks, Kelly. We'll start with the big game from the weekend. And Dundee Derby goalscorer Owen Bevan dedicated the win to injured Dee skipper Simon Murray. That's after the 22-year-old defender scored his first goal in over 3 years to seal a 2-0 win over rivals United at Tannadice. It was a richly deserved victory for the visitors, who moved joint top of the Premiership after just 3 games. Joy and relief. I'll give Owen Bevan the benefit of the doubt and say it was a truly sensational bit of improvisation that saw him divert Alan Forrest's drive into the net via the most subtle of heel flicks. But no one in dark blue inside Tannadice cared a jot. The goal made it 2-0 and secured a memorable victory.
Oh, unbelievable. That's the feelings I've missed. Scoring goals, to be fair, I haven't scored many goals, but getting involved in teams where we're pressing high and we're looking to dominate teams and be aggressive. So yeah, it's unbelievable.
Before Bevan's brilliance, Dre Wright had set the tone, stepping on to Abdoulaye Yoro's underhit pass to stride forward and unleash an unsavable drive past Jack Walton. Yoro's lack of effort to recover his error was poor, but an out-of-sorts Will Ferry didn't cover himself in glory either. Presley ball was sung from the stands as Dundee saw out the win, although the man himself wasn't sure it was in evidence.
I was probably a little bit more animated than I normally am today because, you know, we obviously set out with a tactical game plan and we carried virtually none of it out, if truth be told. I didn't see evidence of hardly any other detail today, but what it did show me is that derby games are not won on tactical detail. They're won on courage, they're won on determination, they're won on grit, all the things that my players served up today.
When you do make the types of changes that I made, then of course, you know, questions are going to be asked if you don't get the positive outcome. But you know, I believe in this group of players. I believe in my staff. I think we're doing lots and lots of good things week to week. But ultimately, you know, all of that hard work that we're doing Monday to Friday needs to come to fruition at the weekend. And unfortunately, in the last 3 weeks, that hasn't been the case.
Bragging rights for the Dark Blues and food for thought for the Fall Guys in Tangerine and Black. That trip to Killie looks massive right now. Former Dundee and Ross County manager Tony Docherty has been appointed as the new Scotland under-21 head coach. Well, Docherty, who's been working for the SFA in various roles in recent months, will be assisted by former Scotland coach Stephen Naismith. Now to golf, and Scott Jamieson says the years of fighting just to stay on the European Tour has paid off as he won his first tournament in over a decade. And it was extra special to do it in Scotland at the Nexo Championship in Aberdeenshire. Here's Jamie Borthwick.
A victory 14 years in the waiting. Scott Jamieson's triumph on the Trump International Golf Links was his first since 2012. Jamieson's final round at 67 was enough to see off the challenge from England's Matthew Jordan. It was an emotional victory for the 42-year-old in front of his family and friends.
There's moments where you're maybe at the wrong end of the list come the business end of the season. You got to knuckle down to keep your job. So yeah, you're every year you're always working towards something, and you know, hopefully all those little things add up to wins every so often. So delighted that it happened this week.
Over at the Atlantic, Robert McIntyre needed a big performance on the final day of the BMW Championship to secure his third consecutive place in the Big Money Tour Championship. A round of 65 did just that, despite a knee injury forcing him to miss the previous tournament.
I've got a Baker cyst in the back of my right knee. I've got that, I mean, from playing shinty back home, to be honest with you. I didn't know what it was, and then I found out after I've been getting serious pain when I squat down to read a putt and stuff, and at times you just got to kind of grin and bear it. And last week I thought it was the right decision to pull out and try and recover and give it the best shot this week, and yeah, it's paid off.
Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
And Invented Golf, still the best at it. See you back here tomorrow.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
OK, let's get your weather now. And Philip, it's been a lovely start to the week, although a touch on the chilly side to begin with. How's the rest of the week looking?
Oh yes, Kellyanne, you're absolutely right. It was a noticeably colder start for many of us. In Tyndrum last night, we saw temperatures drop to 1.4 degrees Celsius, and tonight will be quite similar here in the north. For the rest of the week, well, high pressure sticks around into tomorrow before we see low pressure pushing in from the south, and that will bring with it more humid air. But the main change to our weather doesn't come until Wednesday evening into Thursday, when we'll see some rain moving in, with the bulk of the heaviest rain coming in on Friday. But let's take a closer look at what's in store for the next couple of days. Here is your forecast.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Well, for many of us, it's another settled night to come, remaining largely dry into the overnight period. We've seen some pleasant late evening sunshine around, holding on to clear skies overnight. So that means, similar to last night, we could see some mist and fog patches forming, particularly around eastern coastal parts. So with the clear skies, it does mean temperatures in some rural spots getting down to around 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. For most towns and cities, though, sitting between 9 and 10 degrees. Looking ahead to tomorrow morning, with the clear skies overnight, it does mean it will be a cooler, fresher start to the day, chilly in places. Any mist and fog patches that have formed will break up pretty quickly throughout the course of the morning. Then we start to see some thicker cloud building in from the south, that cloud becoming a bit more widespread, the best of the brightness to the very far north. 1 or 2 showers feeding in on that southeasterly airflow, moving north and northwestwards throughout the course of the afternoon. And with the widespread cloud, it does mean temperatures will be down a degree or two compared to today, highs of 19 or 20. Then looking ahead to Wednesday, actually a very reasonable day to come. Once again, the high pressure just holding on. More in the way of cloud later on in the afternoon. The best of the brightness once again across the very far north. Some showers spreading in later on in the day across the south and southwest. Then on Thursday, the best of the sunshine will be around western parts. Later on in the day further east, we'll see some heavy, possibly thundery rain with highs of 22. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, it's that time of year again. The public are being invited to come forward with their wintry suggestions for Scotland's fleet of road gritters. Previous names have included Basil Salty, Gritty Bang Bang, and a personal favourite of ours here at STV, Thawin Batty. Yes, Sean loves that. Entries can be submitted on Bear Scotland's website. And to think we're still in summer and here we are talking about the winter. Well, that's it from us. We're back again tomorrow. From all of us here, bye-bye.